The clock is ticking for the planet. Climate change is having dramatic consequences on all of us. But the good news is that a lot of actions have been set in motion by our governments to reduce emissions. In Australia, water utilities are embracing this challenge and have set the bar pretty high. Most of them aim to reach net zero, which means zero emissions, by 2035. This four-step approach will enable you to win the fight against climate change. The first thing that you have to do is to evaluate the level of emissions from your activities and identify where they are coming from. Let's have a look at an example on the Gold Coast in Queensland.
Welcome to the Gold Coast Desalination Plant, where we turn seawater into drinking water. With the objective of evaluating the emissions from a treatment plant, you can follow one of the international standards that include the evaluation of emissions from various sources. The first thing to have a look at is the energy use. In Australia, most of our energy comes from coal plants. In our case, to make seawater drinkable, our process requires to increase the water pressure up to 50 bars, which takes a lot of energy. As a result, 92% of the emissions are coming from energy use. Other sources of emissions to consider are associated with the use of chemicals, in our case 3%, and also the management of waste from treatment, in our case another 3%, and a few other less significant sources.
The desalination plant on the Gold Coast is no exception. Energy usage is indeed one of the major sources of emissions from the Australian water industry. The second step of your net zero plan is therefore to reduce energy usage as much as possible.
Welcome to the Bendigo Water Treatment Plant. Here we make water from the reservoir right behind me, safe to drink for over 100,000 residents across the Greater Bendigo region. If you want to reduce energy usage, you can start by optimising processes or replacing older equipment. Let's go have a look inside. Your older assets, just like this pump here, can be targeted for potential replacement. Newer technologies can help reduce your energy consumption and therefore your carbon emissions. You can look at your existing processes to identify opportunities for optimization. 5 to 10% is a good energy reduction target to reach before you move to the next step of your net zero plan.
There is only so much energy you can save in your operations. The next step of your net zero plan is then to use a green source of energy that you can even produce yourself. Let's now have a look at a very concrete example of this.
Welcome to the Ballarat North Wastewater Treatment Plant. Here, precious wastewater is recycled and used to fill a recreational lake located in the heart of Ballarat. Once you have reduced your energy usage as much as you can, the next step is to get renewable energy. For example, you can build solar panels on your own site, just like the ones you can see right behind me. These solar panels were installed in June 2020 and they cover around 9,000 meters square of ground area. Another set of panels also cover the entire roof of our Class A filtration facility. These panels provide around 30% of energy needed by the plant, resulting in a substantial reduction in greenhouse gas emissions.
The final step is for you to offset the remaining emissions. Offsets can be generated on your own sites, for example by planting trees. Let's go now to the Sydney Desalination Plant, where ecological transformation is starting to change the landscape.
Believe it or not, we are still in the desal site, but in the conservation area. This is where we are carrying out regular bush regeneration work to return the area to a more natural state. Here at the Sydney Desal, great care was taken to protect the flying fox colony and to provide a suitable habitat for frogs. And this is where we have planted about 800 eucalypts to provide food for rescued koalas at Symbio Wildlife Zoo, which is nearby.
This four-step plan will enable you to reach net zero and win the fight against climate change.